Welcome back to another episode of The Natty Teacher. I'm the Natty Teacher, of course. Could be confusing though because there's two people here, but I promise, still me. Now I am joined by my absolutely way out of my league, stunningly gorgeous life partner / wife, Haley. So Miss Natty Teacher, yes. I'll tell you. Now, what I want to do here, and if you can tell by the title below, okay, it's all about finding balance in bodybuilding. And I got to include my wife in this because she has been a ginormous reason why I have been able to find and succeed in bodybuilding, to a small extent at least. The success part, that is. There's a lot more to go. But she has helped bring so much balance to my life as an individual and also to our family as I am growing and pursuing some massive bodybuilding dreams. And speaking of that, I don't make this clear in my videos, but I want to make it very clear now. I know I like to be goofy and have fun and be lighthearted and all that, but when it comes to the dream that I have and a dream that I will pursue until I achieve that, I want to make it very clear. I want to be a professional natural bodybuilder. That is like the end goal. That is one thing that I'm manifesting, putting it out in the universe, saying it and speaking it into, into reality. But also behind that, the most important part is I'm working towards that as well, essentially every second of every day. So what I wanted to do, now that we've made that clear, that is the end goal. So just so y'all know who are following along with my journey, like I want to be, a professional natural classic physique bodybuilder. That is what I want to do. And within a natural federation like the now newly created IFBB, or I should say like NPC / IFBB, natural bodybuilding federation, I guess you could say. They are branching off and doing natural shows. There's going to be natural pro shows next year, natural Mr. Olympia by 2026. It's amazing. It's so cool that I get to get into it right at this time and grow with the NPC and the IFBB, over these next quite a few years into, transitioning into becoming a natural pro classic physique, bodybuilder. That is, again, that is the big goal. So I want to actually turn the attention and the spotlight over to my wife for the first chunk of this video, especially because she's going to drop some wisdom in finding that balance and being with somebody who is, again, I'm not Mr. Olympia, I'm not a Chris Bumstead, I'm not at the top of the bodybuilding game yet. Of course, that would be awesome. And that's what I'm working towards, just like I know so many of, other people out there are. So we're just going to all do our best. But she's going to drop some wisdom on you on what it's like finding balance with somebody who is, a competitive bodybuilder, and things that, I do that may be a little bit different, and what she does, in our relationship and what I do in our relationship and all that kind of fun stuff. So I know she has a list of concise things that may be a little bit different and may be helpful for those of you who are watching this video who are, in a relationship with somebody who is bodybuilding or competing or what have you. Or maybe even not. Maybe they just like really going to the gym. So, Haley, I'll turn it over to you. I know you have some things to chat about. I'll chime in when needed, but floor is yours.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. If you see me looking down, I'm just looking at our baby monitor.
Yeah, our daughter's asleep.
This is take 4.
It is. We've been at this for a little bit.
Wake up soon. Hopefully not, but we'll see. So first thing I want to encourage you guys to do, which JMO just did, is define your goals. Yep. Because if you want to be a bodybuilder, step on stage and get to that professional level, or just step on stage, or if you want to just work out in the gym and work on your physique, those are two very different things. And they put different demands on your life and your relationship.
For sure.
So that's the first thing. Second thing is look at your priorities. Because that was something we had talked about earlier, is very early on in our relationship, because of the time demands that happens whenever you're, making a bunch of food, eating, working out, all of that combined, and just resting, that puts a lot of demands on your time.
For sure.
And of course, to build a relationship, you need to put time into it. Yeah. So we really had to look at, what we're doing and when can we spend time with each other.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add about priorities?
The prioritizing the time piece is huge, and especially now at the stage of life that we're at, where, we bought our first home, last winter, and we had our first child, so we have a young daughter and all that. Like, it does become so important about prioritizing. Of course, like, finances is obviously huge, and we already talked about doing another video, potentially even next weekend, all about how to, and what we're doing after years of being together to actually finally find that path to financial success while balancing like normal everyday expenses, and then also like bodybuilding related expenses, and how you can find that. But yeah, prioritizing your money, prioritizing of course your time over everything. It is not something that happens overnight at all. Like, it is very much so something that, again, we've been together now for just over 5 years, and I would say we've gotten about 1,000,000 times better with prioritizing things, but we're still not perfect at it. There definitely are times where we could prioritize things a little bit different to spend more time together, or to do this or that or what have you. But it is definitely an adjustment, with somebody who really, really is pursuing a dream in bodybuilding. Because again, and we'll talk about it probably at some other point in this video, it is not an overnight sport. It is not, like you go watch somebody play a football game and then leave kind of thing. It is something where it is a ton of, just like any sport, but it is a ton of behind the scenes work. It is a ton of little things that add up to really, really big things, over time. And again, there was definitely a period of time where I saw really big bodybuilding dreams, and, she may not have maybe, but again, there was that adjustment period to where, as I took it more and more seriously, she took it more and more seriously. And especially, for those of you out there who are 18, 19, 20 years old, and you're really getting into working out, and you see the C-bums, and you see, the Mr. Olympia competitors and what have you, and you're like, wow, I want to be that. Well, don't just give up on that. You're freaking 18 years old. That's awesome. Like, you should pursue that, dude. You know what I mean? But if you are in a relationship with somebody who maybe you're really serious with, and you see them as like your life partner, and as like somebody who you want to potentially, again, be with for the rest of your life, if they don't get behind you in your goals, I'm not just saying to straight up dump them, but there definitely has to be a point where that adjustment has to be made from both ends, to where you can find, that balance in, both being a bodybuilder or an aspiring bodybuilder, and also still a partner, and still, just a support system for your other half as well.
Yeah, and I feel this goes back to like the goal setting number one. Yeah. And you need to figure out, if this is my goal, this is what I need from you. Like, as my partner, this is what I need from you. I need X, Y, and Z, and then hopefully reciprocate that. Yeah. As someone they're looking for in this life, and how you can help them get there, and then you help each other.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think that would be kind of a good point to kind of branch into, if you don't mind me taking the spotlight for a few minutes. And I'll pass it back to you, I promise. Go for it. But I think that, and this is, in the first take we did of this, I got emotional, so I'm going to really not try to do that again. Show no emotion. No mercy in this dojo. No, I'm kidding. I was emotional, though, that I'm not kidding about. Now, when you're with somebody, and again, this is something that I feel like with the goal setting and all that, kind of losing my train of thought here. Hopefully we can bring it back here, but the what now?
Support. Right?
Yeah,
that's where you're going.
I believe so. Yeah, we'll go that route. When you find somebody who, man, what's a good way of wording this? You need to have somebody in your life who, again, we already kind of highlighted this, who can support you, but then there's more layers to that, though. Like, it's not just like, oh, hey, good job. Like, my wife is just as indulged in my bodybuilding journey as I am. Like, and again, that's so cool, because I've seen somebody who, when we first started dating, who probably couldn't, who could probably care less about bodybuilding, or couldn't care less about bodybuilding.
No, I cared.
But I'm saying, like, the sport itself. Like, you didn't, like, keep up with it or anything. No. Like, she wasn't, like, a bodybuilding fan. Yeah, but now, like, she keeps up with it, keeps up with me and, like, are the Mr. Olympia competitors, and asks about this and that. We listen to, Bro Chat all the time. I have that playing in the background. And,
Not my choice.
Well, okay. But you get a kick.
Funny,
They're a good group of guys.
Yeah.
And, they have good conversations. But it's one of those things where, as we have grown as a couple, we really have grown into each other's interests as well. And oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because it didn't sink in until very recently, like being with a bodybuilder, especially someone who's going to step on stage or even go that professional route, that didn't sink in for me until very recently. Like, that is literally, like, I am in a relationship with an athlete, like a very serious athlete. And so kind of like letting that click in my brain, like, I'm like, oh crap, like, that's like a job. Like, that is a job for some people in itself.
For sure.
You know, let alone with someone that has another full-time job. Like, it's just a different outlook, you know, and then kind of taking that into like, how can I help? You know, like, these are my partner's dreams. How can I help him succeed, you know?
Yeah. And she absolutely has. And that's the whole thing. Again, if you look at like pictures of like me when we first started dating till now, it's a completely different human being. I mean, it's like night and day of a guy who you could tell worked out, but was just a big guy chasing the scale, whatever, to now like, oh wow, like you know, like when was your last show? Like, when are you competing again? And, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. And, you know, finding somebody in your life who can be that support system and help bring balance to you, bring balance to the force. You know, it's incredible. It really is. And, you know, my wife is the rock of our family. She really is. Like, she is my main support system. She is our family's main support system as far as just that emotional, you know, piece and all that. And, you know, always knows the right thing to say. But at the same time, and this is another big one, you know, fellas, she's not always just a yes woman. Like, she's a very, very strong, you know, independent woman. And, you know, it's one of those things that I respect so much about her, and that I know for a fact our daughter will succeed with because of my wife. She's not afraid to call me out on my crap, and to call me out on like, hey, like, you know, when even in like posing or something like that, like, no, that doesn't look as good as that. And like, that needs to be brought up. Like, hey, that looks, and of course she's like, you know, says nice things too. It's not like she's just sitting there just like, you suck. You know, like, that's terrible. But she was in there probably with me 95% of the pose. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you had the timer out and was like, you know, holding so like, oh yeah. When you're deep into prep those last couple weeks and you got to pose for like a half hour a day, it's frustrating, man. There are times where literally, oh yeah. Oh, dear God. It's like when, anyways, put it that way. For those of you who have never competed, who are planning to compete, you'll get there. I promise. Yeah. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about, because you know, you're 1,000 calories short of where you want to be, and you got somebody, you know, telling you to smile when you're trying to just hold in your, you know, gut, and it's like, you know, it's something, I'll tell you. But at the same time, I'll tell you what, and she can back me up on this one. It's not tooting my own horn. I was probably the best poser in my class,
by far,
especially in mandatories, and she played a giant role in that for sure. Like, that was one thing that I 100%, when I got on stage, like, you know, I had the jitters a little bit backstage, but when I got out under the lights, it was like, I was like, man, I've been doing this for months, and I've been doing it, you know, I've been holding these poses for 5 times as long as I need to. Like, this is nothing. Mm-hmm. And, you know, some of the pictures, if you scroll down in my videos, you can see some, you know, pictures from my wife and, you know, from my mom that they took of, you know, during the mandatories, because when you compete, they do stage shots only during your individual routine. They don't do it during comparisons, but you can see that even like the smile on my face, because I held it the whole time, I'll tell you what. Mm-hmm. You know, the smile was beaming, and, you know, the poses were, put it this way, for first time competing in classic physique, they were what I wanted them to be. Always can be better, of course. Mm-hmm. But definitely she was a huge reason why I succeeded with that. And again, it goes back to like just finding that support system and finding, you know, that balance in the relationship, because she's using her time too. And guys, this is something you got to realize. She could be doing anything else, literally reading a book, watching a show, you know, doing whatever. But she's taken that 20, 30, 40 minutes sometimes a day for months at a time, literally just to watch me pose in our guest room. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't got to do that. But she did. And I know in the future she will again, and will be, well, she wants to do that too. You know what I mean? Like, and that's something that's rare, man. That's hard to find. And so I'm very, very blessed with that. And I know that will, you know, lead to more, I know for a fact that will lead to more success, you know, for me down the line for sure. But what else? What else you got?
So we got define your goals.
Yep. Priorities.
Look at your priorities.
Yep.
Give it back to her.
Oof,
because
yeah.
Especially,
I still fail at this, by the way. I do. I can be even better with it. I really try.
You know,
but
it's just like, you know, like you're supposed to like continue to date when you're married, like that same idea. But especially if you're just getting with this person,
yes,
he or she is probably going to be like, oh, whoa, like this thing really takes up a lot of your time, and kind of touching on like that priorities thing.
Yeah.
You know, they want to feel like a priority too, especially if you're just getting with someone.
Sure.
So he or she may be like, wow, like, you know, I don't feel like I'm given enough attention. So really taking extra time to buy them little things, touch them extra, rub their feet, you know, write them a little note. Quick plug, J-Mo writes me a note every single night, and so I read it right when I wake up in the morning. It is the best thing ever. So buy a notebook.
And it's free. It's free.
Yeah,
All you gotta do is buy the notebook and I guess a pencil or pen, logically, and then you can just write little notes for years. Literally years worth of little blurbs.
Yeah, it's like the sweetest thing, makes me smile. And yeah, so any of those things, just give it back to her, because he or she is going to be doing so many things for you, and
yes,
you know, and so you want to reciprocate that, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you have anything else to say, or can we tell them the secret?
No.
Okay.
Please tell. This is a secret to me, apparently, too. We haven't gotten this far in the video yet, so I'm excited. This is awesome.
Okay,
what do you
so
got?
the secret sauce to bodybuilding and
Steroids.
Relationships.
Just kidding.
And relationships. You guys ready?
Yes.
You have to want it. Like, that's it. Like, you have to, like, you can obviously speak to it more for bodybuilding, but with relationships, you both have to want it, and that's it. If you do, and you can find that, you'll figure out how to make it work.
For sure.
You just will.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, from a relationship perspective, I'll touch on that real quick, because I don't want to exceed 20 minutes, and it looks like our daughter's moving around a little bit, so we got to wrap this up, because that is a priority for us. We need to make sure that she's good to go. Now, from like a couple's perspective or relationship perspective, and she can tell you this too, and I think it was a huge growing point, and this is kind of a personal thing, but that's okay. It's an open book. You know, there were times in our relationship where, especially early on, that first year or so, I think there were times where we weren't sure if it was really meant to be, for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We did not have a relationship where it was like we met each other and then and there.
Ending.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like it was like the high school sweetheart thing, been together for 12 years, got married, all that kind of stuff. It was one of those things where we really had to put in the work and grow together. And that's one of the reasons why even now, like if we have upsets and arguments or whatever, I can't stay mad at her. I can't. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I feel like an old married couple at this point, in the best way possible. I mean, to where I don't want her to be upset at me and vice versa. And we have put a ton of time into that, to where we went from being very much so like argumentative, and then we would just like walk away, and that was kind of, and then eventually it just kind of like fizzled down and whatever, to now it's like we communicate and like, you know, we work through things together, and, you know, are able to like reciprocate feelings to each other that we didn't, you know, have before, that we couldn't really put into words in the past. You know, we have really put so much time and effort into our relationship, and I'm so excited for like the growth, even as we're married now for 2 years, which is crazy. You know, it's so exciting to me every day to like think about the future that we have in our marriage.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's, you know, we both played a role in that. But from an individual perspective, you gotta want it, dude. It sounds cliche, like David Goggins, who's going to carry the boats kind of thing. Bro, I don't give a shit if you got to wake up at 4 a.m. to get your cardio in, and then go, you know, to work, and then you work a 12-hour day, and then you got to go to the gym for 2 hours after. If you can't do that for weeks and months and years at a time, and dude, I would say a slightly above average regional. I think, yeah, my wife's gonna. I'll close this out. And this is important.
Thanks for letting me join.
She'll be back. We're going to have her on next week. We got a cool topic that I think is a good one for especially younger bodybuilders. But to kind of close out here, dude, if you, and again, I'm like a subpar, maybe slightly above average, regional classic physique competitor in the state of Michigan. Put it that way. Like, I'm like, you know, didn't even take the overall. So that just goes to show you that. But you got to want it, man. Like, I'll be up in the morning early, you know, every day during prep, you know, 45 minutes on the bike, fasted, you know, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning every morning, eating, and then going to work from there, and then immediately going to the gym after, and that was 6 days a week. You know, and it's one of those things where I had that one rest day. And it's one of those things where you got to freaking want it, whether it's in your relationship or whether it's, you know, as an individual with your goals, you have to want it just as much as you want anything else or even more in life. So anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there because the eye candy has left. She's got all the good things to say. I can talk about working out all day and all that. So she's got all the good advice and all the, you know, all the fun stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed having her on. Again, tune in next weekend because we will be talking about finances and bodybuilding and being, you know, the fact that we just bought our first house, you know, within the last year or so. We had a daughter. You know, it's tight. It's very tight. And just kind of like what we've actually done, especially we've been really, really dedicated these last couple months. And, you know, we have our calendar and all that kind of stuff with all of our bills. You know, what we've done to kind of turn the tide a little bit to actually now within these next, even just couple weeks really, or a month or so, to set ourselves up on, you know, a track to where we actually are going to be in a much, much better, more secure financial situation, and how you can balance, you know, your finances and bodybuilding, you know, as a younger person or couple with, you know, big responsibilities. So anyways, thank you guys so much for joining. I know that was a lot of talk, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Please make sure to leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. If you liked it, if you hated it, whatever. If you want to just tear into it, tear into me, whatever. Not my wife though. Don't do it. She's you know, she's great. But any and all feedback, please make sure you leave that down below. Make sure you like and share the video. If you have not subscribed already, and you want to, but you've just been holding back for some reason, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, then you can see me, this ugly mug, every day at the top of your feed with new training content for you posted daily. Also, make sure you give me a follow on TikTok, at The Natty Teacher. I'm going to be updating my upload schedule a little bit starting this upcoming week. And, you know, I have a little mini series that I was going to do. I was going to start it a while ago, and then honestly, just like life priorities got in the way as far as time constraints go, but now I've found a schedule that I think works for me really well. And so I will have a little mini series on TikTok called The Natty Teachings, which will be little 60-second blurbs on exercises, on supplementation, diet, competing, life things, whatever it may be. So, you know, make sure you tune in over there. And I do post little workout videos, you know, all my content condensed into 60 seconds or less over on TikTok as well. So anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Join me tomorrow for our Push A session. It's going to be a doozy in the best way, of course. But for today, I am the Natty Teacher, and this very special episode of Summer School is out. I will catch y'all on the blippity flop.